has already been usurped. This wasn't my first slide. And Lisa, who's the deputy at school, this is Lisa and Richard, I'm the head at Woodrow, Lisa's the deputy, said put this up, didn't you?
Yeah, I think hopefully we're going to pick up from a few points from this morning, from the discussion about how we can change in our schools, never mind what governments say, and we're trying a few things in our school, aren't we? And so we've got, we had a really sad slide to start with, and I thought, in the rain, let's start with let's start with a child.
But the sad slide was actually from a Capita conference on leadership and management, and they wanted to sponsor this workshop, Capita, because they're sponsoring everything else in education. Everywhere you turn has become Capita. And this was one of their courses, and I found this, and it's all about a balanced scorecard, and this was a scary bit. What will it cover, this course? It will cover how to translate strategy into operational objectives, divisional, functional and personal scorecards. But it really is quite scary, you know, that they're having these as leadership and management. I don't understand any of that. We don't really have scorecards at school, do we?
No, and it sort of goes back again, like I'm saying to this morning, so we don't have scorecards for teachers, so we don't have lesson observations, we don't have grades for teachers, we don't collect planning, we don't give children levels and numbers. So you ask any child in our school what level they are, they will look at you, and they will look at you gone out, they won't have a clue what you're talking about. So we've sort of been trying to find ways to fit in with the accountability systems, but within our school, trying to do that in a kind way and having a happy school. And if you come to our school and you walk round, you will see that, you know, hopefully staff and children are happy, but there are high expectations and high standards at our school, but nowhere will you see lesson grades and numbers of teachers, staff or children.
We don't want to create a picture of a fluffy school where we'll float around. You know, there's beautiful clouds and organ music played around the school. It's in the middle of an estate, in the middle of a challenging estate in Redditch, which is a lovely town south of, well, it's a town just south of Birmingham, and it's ultimately it became it's an overspill town, and our estate is one of those overspill estates. It's been there 40 years now, and we're on 4th generation, 5th generation even, families in there who have massive problems and massive issues. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. So we just want to talk about how we can run a school like that and work in a school like that, smiling lots and getting on with each other. Without this, I want your planning. I want to see a lesson. I want outstanding, which is here time and time again. We don't like that word much, do we? We don't like that. So this is what we're talking about this morning. So it's not the Capita. Now, I wanted to put this slide up because I suppose it's from Australia. I don't know if any of you have seen this one before. It's on a golf course in Australia. Look carefully. Just inside there is the Australian brown snake, which is the second most venomous snake in Australia. And I suppose the metaphor that goes with this is sort of look before you leap. Take risks. Always take risks, but I suppose it have to be measured risks. We do that with the curriculum. So if you want to change, make change, which is what we've done, but make that change carefully. Take risks, but sensibly. Lisa.
Yeah, go back to lovely Kieran here. Sort of like, what's the problem? And that's sort of the general feeling in school and the general ethos that, you know, if there's a problem, then we can do something about it. And a lot of that comes from Richard's leadership, really, and the fact that he is out and about in school and he is teaching in our classrooms. You know, we are teaching together. And if you were to come into our staff room or you'd just be walking around, he's always throwing out ideas. So first of all, you sort of hear him say, let's take this whole school to London. And everyone would be a bit like, is he crazy? Has he got another crazy idea? But everyone sort of then stops and thinks, and we all work together, and people take on a shared responsibility for it then. So that all the ideas are thrown out, but people then tend to pick up on them and work together on them. So actually we did take the whole school to London, and it was a day very much like it is today, and I've got this image in my head of the whole of Key Stage 1 training through Trafalgar Square in the rain, and it's very much this idea of, yeah, that we've got to do what the government says, we've got to do what Ofsted says, but we're going to do it in the best way for our children, and we're going to work together to provide them with all of these opportunities. And lots of that comes from Richard's risk-taking, like he's saying, but having an eye on, you know,
the London trip is great because our children, they won't necessarily go to London, they won't necessarily get these opportunities. And going down, I think you could pass Buckingham Palace, and then they saw the wheel, and then just a coach go. It's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So the school's built, really, the leadership of the school is built on 4 key priorities. It's building shared responsibility, get on with people, don't define vision, but do it, and avoid enforced change. So ultimately, I'm a yes man. I don't want to stand up and say, you know, I do this, I do that, but I try to say yes as much as possible, because it's much better than no. And we look on having leaders everywhere across the school, not just in the staff room, but the children. And in some of our parents as well. But the given is always, I'll say yes, it always has to be, what does it do for our school? It's got to have some value for our children. What will it do for our children? And I think the magic, and I think the key to leadership and management is simple. It's 80-20. In the literacy hour, we have 15, 15, 20, 10. Can you remember? It's an awful, awful thing. 15, 15, 20, 10. It was driven into us. Well, we do 80-20. And I think leadership, that's all right. Hiya. Hiya. You missed the best bit. You missed the snake. That's all right. It was a snake. 80%, I think, of my role as a leader in school is getting on with people. And I think the other 20% is getting on with people as well. That's what it's about. I just think being ahead is just about getting on with people.
It was really sad this morning to hear the teacher stand up and say that, you know, he's got to hand in his planning to the head teacher to be, well, I don't know what they do with it, to be marked or,
Scroll on it and give you a big note back about what they think should be in it when it's not.
When they don't teach anyway.
Don't teach at all. No.
So that was really sad, and that we're lucky that doesn't happen in our school, because we believe that's not the way to get the best out of people, and we want everyone, you know, we want all our staff to be happy. So when Richard comes into the classroom, the teachers don't even notice, the children don't notice, it carries on. And we'd hate it to be a school where, you know, when the head comes in, you freeze because you think, what are they here for? Are they coming to look at my books, or are they coming to check up on me? And you don't need to be like that. And, you know, we've made sure that our school's not like that. But at the same time, that's not to say he's a pushover. You know, I'll stand here and say that, because he's not. And there's always this feeling that, you know, there is high expectation of everybody and there is high demand. But we also feel that we can go to Richard and we can approach him, and we can do that with each other. And in our staff room, we're always talking about the things that have gone wrong as well as the things that are going right. And I think it's a really good culture to have, and I know we're really lucky to have that.
I'm feeling really good this morning. All these things, this is great. And I don't want to go around the classrooms, and when they get in there, the children all stand up and recite the school motto in Latin. You know, it's not what we're about. It's not what we want, because that gets in the way of the children learning, just getting to talk to them. So I try and stay out of my office as much as possible. And this is a head's chair of sadly an inadequate school, because you can tell a school and what the school's like. If you go to the head's office, the deeper the arse ridges on the seat, the more time they spend sat down on it, and you can actually work out what the school is like. the first bottle of beer, the first prize. Who can tell me how much we spend on Ofsted a year? Any ideas how much Ofsted costs us? As a nation.
Too much.
What do you think? Whoever gets closest gets a beer.
2.5 million.
Just shy of a billion.
It's less than $1 billion.
64 million.
Higher?
100
million.
Lower?
Million. 700 million.
Lower. Keep
600
going.
million.
100.
500.
Higher than 100.
150 million.
Higher than 150, not much.
175.
Lower than
They hold me
175.
for this beer.
160 million.
Who said 160?
Oh, we both did.
You can have half rock, scissors, paper.
Right, quick. Out of 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Rock,
Rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors.
That's made by the Mountain Brewery in West Wales. It's fantastic. And it's almost like Mountain of the Expert, which we do an awful lot of, but I'll talk about that later. Yeah, I think this whole idea is we could have worked it out. We get £16,000 per school if we got rid of Ofsted, and that includes paying for somebody to stay in a Premier Inn overnight, going into each school and checking the head teacher's chair to see how deep the ostriches were. So that's how we could actually work out. That's how we could reform the system, in my opinion.
We're saying though, aren't we, that actually you can only really have great leaders if you've got great managers as well to back them up. Because it's okay someone having all of these wonderful ideas and being out and about, but you also still need to have the day-to-day stuff done. Someone still needs to organise the timetables and all of the boring things. So there's that balance between great leaders and great managers, isn't there?
And I'll admit I'm not a very good manager.
Can I just ask how big is the school?
It's 360 children. So it's a first school. So 3-year-olds to 9-year-olds. So yeah, it's a first school. So I found this picture because I heard this difference between leadership and management. And with buses, I was told that managers are the ones who keep them clean and full of petrol. And they're the ones who make sure they're ready for the journey. And the leaders are the ones who create their interesting journeys for them to go on, that pick up people. And then I came across this bus, and some amazing leader thought of this bus, and they put them on all the buses in this city to increase the greenery in the city. So that all the buses in the city had these gardens on top of them, so increase the greenery. I just thought that was just wonderful.
Yeah, but they need a manager to make sure the plants are watered.
Say again,
They need a manager to make sure the plants are watered.
Well, I mean, employment as well. It's increasing employment straight away there. I do think they're absolutely wonderful. Now, bottle of beer number 2. Who are these two? Mourinho. Straight in there. There you go. There we are. Mourinho and Bobby Robson. Mourinho, he's done so well. He's just started off as Bobby Robson's translator. When Bobby Robson arrived, got off the plane in Lisbon, when he started, he didn't speak Portuguese, and Mourinho said, I'm your translator. Look what he's done. And I'm just wondering, at that point, who's the leader, who's the manager? Were they both leaders or are they both managers? Just wondering. And then there he is. I mean, I honestly think there's an awful lot in leadership about deflecting. And this man is just the greatest deflector. He deflects pressure from his team. He deflects pressure from his chairman. And I think my role, part of my role, is to be a deflector, is to get rid of the hassle and get rid of all the rubbish, deflect it off the teachers so they can get on with teaching. Are these two leaders or managers, what do you think?
Who's the guy on the right?
What I can't remember. Simon. Simon.
I think Pete Cowell's a manager.
Carl's a manager, not a leader.
No.
I'd say
Nice is a leader.
because all his ideas come from Zoex Factor, Britain Got Talent. They're all
He's
from him.
conceived those
And then he has
ideas.
people under him managing the process.
And this one is Lisa's very favourite
It's the
pop
lead
star.
singer of Sapien. Just like him.
Just put that up for a bit of a...
I can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because Lisa came with a bit of a treat. But I suppose he's a leader. I saw him at Glastonbury on the television, and you know he was running the show, wasn't he? So there's a wonderful level of leadership there. I don't know whether he's managing the audience as well. I'm not sure. About this one, is she a leader or a manager? Lara.
Leader. She
Leader.
sets an inspirational vision, a desired future state that's compelling, that urges people to want to join her.
And she does it as well. She doesn't just stand and talk about it. She does it. Next one. Well, that's a fantastic lady. We all know who she is.
Yeah.
She's our leader. Or our manager. I don't know. She's our leader.
What she does.
No.
We're all
Can't make a
getting
judgment yet.
So I asked at school what a good leader was, and they came up with, just asked them at lunchtime what they think a good leader is. And they came up with those. And bad. Which was interesting because I just wrote down, not all good leaders are successful, not all bad leaders are unsuccessful. And I think in education, we've got quite a few leaders in schools who perhaps are ignorant, closed door, invisible, and dictate. A head teacher who demands the planning, who wants to see teachers teach and doesn't trust them. So Woodrow, our sort of unwritten mantra, is what more can we do for the children? There is our context is very challenging. I became head there after I'd been at a village school, lovely little village, leafy school, children ride on ponies, you know, that sort of thing. It was a marvellous place to be. And then first, I was seconded into the school, not for any issues that were challenging, it's just that the head was retiring. And I went in there and I was like a bit of a rabbit, you know, in the headlights, and there was this school and all these issues and core group meetings and child protection and drugs and parents fighting and all these things, you know, going on, which I never, ever come across before. But there was this incredibly committed staff, very, very skilled staff, who wanted to do more for the children. What more can we do for the children? So there's no excuses, no blame, but very, very high expectations of our children by being nice.
Yeah, we think there's no really easy answers for, workload was mentioned quite a lot this morning, and even with trying to get rid of most of the bureaucracy around teaching in our school, we still have to work blooming hard. And I think we've decided, and we all agree, that it's easier to work hard when you've got people around you who are supporting you, and when you come to school and it's a happy place to come, and you can have a laugh with the other staff. And yeah, we work really hard at trying to keep that and keeping our morale high. And we think it works because we keep our staff, and we keep them for a long, long time, and they don't go anywhere, do they?
No.
But all the time we are, thinking, what more can we be doing for the children? And we don't mind so much working hard if we can see that it's having an impact.
So here are some of them. And when I came in, one of them to stand up. Absolutely. They were doing a topic on the mantle on World War I, and they were doing some work on conscripts. And they take their learning really, really seriously. You know, they're really challenging the teacher in there, and this whole idea of conscription. And we don't, with the children, the rules are there for them to share, so to speak. There's this massive issue with aspiration and expectation. And I know the parents of our children, when the children are born, there's huge aspiration, but the aspiration is high, expectation is low. And I think there's a big difference between the two. So the parents aspire for their children to do great things, but They don't expect them to. And it's getting over that we're working on at the moment. And we benefit from pupil premium massively. God bless the Liberal Democrats, because they keep our school open. And what we've done is, rather than telling teachers we want them to do things, we don't conscript teachers to do tasks in school. We say there are opportunities and we give them a chance to do those. We've got...
Yeah, so with pupil premium, for instance, we said to all of the staff, right, is anyone interested in becoming a pupil premium champion for the year? And let's see if we can develop a role. And lots of, the staff came forward, and two of the younger members of staff decided that, yeah, they'd like to have a go at this. And so they're developing their leadership skills, even though they're not an experienced member of staff. So we do try to build on people's skills, really, but for them to come forward and say, yeah, I'd like to work on that, rather than us going and saying, oh yeah, can you be in charge of pupil premium now as part of your job description. And we do then try to work more in teams, so we don't really have anyone that has just sole responsibility for something, so we believe it's important to work in teams. And our pupil premium we use really for raising, as Richard said, raising the aspirations of the children. So this group here have been to Birmingham University recently and had a science lecture and had a tour with the students there. Because for a lot of them, they won't even think that they can go to university, and it was a really great opportunity for them. And they get to work with teachers from different countries who come to our school. And so all the time we're thinking of more creative ways to use pupil premium. We won't necessarily use it for a literacy intervention. We'd see very few of those, or a numeracy intervention. We try and think a bit broader, really, don't we?
Because we want it to have long-term impact on the community. Because it's the community that needs to change long-term. If it's just within the school, within the class, within 1 year 4 group or 2 year 4 groups, that won't have long-term impact. So that's what we believe we should be doing with it. We also try to develop interesting ways to teach. Yes, we do all of the loads of reading, loads of writing, but we also use Man of the Expert and drama and dramatic inquiry. And I just took a photo yesterday in Lisa's class, and what were you doing there? It was talking about adverbial frontals or something.
Yeah, we were doing the boring year 4 literacy stuff, yeah, fronted adverbials. But picking up on what Mick Waters said this morning, we're trying to do it within an interesting context. So we're working on an Anglo-Saxon piece of work at the moment, and the children are working for the British Museum. And on the wall they've created this whole story about an Anglo-Saxon helmet that was found. I mean, I can't go into detail because it all stems back from A Midsummer Night's Dream in Shakespeare. And to explain how it got from there to an Anglo-Saxon helmet would be ridiculous. But anyway, these 4 children here have created a still image of part of a battle where the king lost his helmet. And we're all sitting around here creating sentences and paragraphs about this part of the battle. So we use lots of drama as a vehicle, really, for the boring curriculum stuff.
But it's great to hear our children talking in dramatic terms. So you've got year 1 children saying, well, which convention shall we use for this? And this is great. That, and I think that's what high expectation is about.
Yeah.
And I think high expectation is about oracy and opportunities for children to have these chances to stand up and work in this way.
Yeah, so these 4 girls hadn't moved. They were literally about to draw their swords, and we had a whole paragraph just on them standing there about to draw their
How
swords.
long have they been stood like that?
Oh, why?
We need progress. We need progress in 20-minute slots. We really do. This is not good.
We are, as a school, we are really lucky to be able to, because Richard lets us really, be able to take the curriculum and work on it in our own way. So we've got complete freedom with it. So yeah, we've got to cover all of the Year 4 objectives in this class, but the way that we do it is up to us, really. So we try to be as creative as possible with them.
So
And that keeps us fresh as teachers. Of course, like when you've been teaching for a long time, you don't want to be teaching the same thing over and over again. So it's really good to be able to keep it fresh.
So interesting ways to teach, interesting things to say and write. I think, I've said time and time again, that our work in schools, and all of our work in schools, is a travesty, and it's a national disgrace that it's quantified in the way it is. It's absolutely scandalous. We have a lot of visitors come to our school, and we think the way children talk is so important, and the confidence of children talking is so important. And when these visitors come, we just grab some children from classrooms to come and talk to them. And it's such, these pictures just show that our children, whoever they were happy to talk to grown-ups and happy to chat away about their work. Really, really relaxed.
Showing them it feels
Can no one take any photos of that?
That's a little bit too relaxed.
But they're fabulous.
I hadn't noticed that.
I think one of the areas I really irritate the staff at school with is I'll give them time to discuss things, and I want them to discuss things.
Yeah, so not just the children, but in the classrooms the children do as well. And we can take ages discussing something, and you think, at the back of your mind, if you're thinking of like the old way of teaching, you think, I should have moved on, I should have moved on. But no, we do. If they're interested in something, we give them time to discuss it. And it's the same for the staff, really. But on the other side of that, that can be frustrating, because sometimes you just want Richard to make the decision, and he won't, or you just want a decision today, and we don't get there. So there's that other side of it, really, isn't it? Sometimes it's a bit frustrating.
I think so. But I think you've got to be careful about telling people what to do. You've got to be so careful about telling people what to do.
Let's just check for any raised dresses.
And then there's just a bit of writing. Writing's so important, and I think the way we work with, particularly with Matt the Expert, that has raised writing standards. We do think our children do need a good level of basics, because they come into nursery and they can't string two words together literally because of the backgrounds and the fact that language and oracy isn't important at home, writing isn't important at home. They hear very few words. So we do think the basics are so important. And we want to move them on to this. I think it's a piece of Year 3 writing about some drama work they've done about trees, and they need these interesting stimuli to move them forward. Go on.
Yeah, you'll see at the moment lots of writing on display around school, because it's one of our whole school targets, and the dreaded appraisal or performance management, whatever it's called in your school, we obviously have to make sure that we do that, because we just have to. But we took the decision as a school that everyone would have exactly the same targets. So no matter who you are, the target is the same for every teacher, and they're shared targets. And we definitely take the view that we work on them together. And none of the targets have percentages in for numbers of levels or amounts of progress. But they are rigorous, and we do work on them together. So writing was one, and it made such a difference to think that we were working on it together, and that you didn't have to worry if your class weren't doing as well as someone else's. Takes the pressure off and takes the fear off, definitely.
I think that collegiate approach is really, really important. I also think as far as observations and monitoring goes, maybe in a larger school it's more challenging, but if you're in a smaller school and your head teacher doesn't know what you were like in the classroom, your own teacher's got a problem, to be honest, because they should be out about that a little bit more. I think when we talk about interesting things to learn, that goes for the staff as well as the children. the CPD approach in the school is one whereby if you think there's something interesting you want to find out, come and let us know and we'll fund it. If you want to go abroad on a trip, on an EasyJet flight to Denmark or somewhere, see what's going on in a school in there, we'll pay for it because it's cheaper than a Capita or an Osiris course. We'll get much more from it too. So CPD is really, really important to us. We spend a lot on it, but we very rarely say no for a course and opportunity, because getting out to schools, you see so much, schools elsewhere. We've been to Palestine, we took teachers out to Palestine and worked in schools in Palestine and refugee camps, worked in partnership with the foundation out there, Danish people coming in. So we really think it's important for teachers to have opportunities to learn, as long as it makes a difference to our children. It's always the rider.
And not just teachers, so our TAs, we've funded 3 TAs this year to complete college courses. Lots of them try and do this themselves as well outside of school, so we try to support them rather than having to pay for it themselves. HLTAs, 2 of our HLTAs, we have 3 currently, are completing university degrees, and 1 hopefully in January will be a qualified teacher. We're supporting MAs with 2 of our staff. So yeah, as Richard said, we really put a lot of our budget in. I know it's not possible in all schools, but we've made it a priority really to put lots of money into training, because we think that that's going to have the knock-on effect for the children. And as well with our parents, we send our parents on courses, and we run family learning courses, and the number of parents now who are TAs, and we have 2 who are reading champions in school. It's always worthwhile in the long term, really, isn't it?
I think we've got to crack on a bit,
Yeah.
because this is a photo of Charlie here, of a drawing that she did of a mine, and they were doing some work of some Victorian children down the mines, and it's fabulous that they take their work so seriously. They also have confidence in themselves, because you always hear about children who go to independent schools having lots and lots of confidence, when you hear about character and resilience, all these things. So we want our children to have the confidence to be the leaders of the future. And why shouldn't they be doing that coming out of our estate? And they also see that failure isn't a negative. Failure can really be a positive. They learn about the Anglo-Saxons. So there's a nice bit of history knowledge, which is good, isn't it? So we've got to have a bit of historical knowledge. So the curriculum is quite rich at school.
Yeah, we were going to talk about constructing it with the children, but we're running out of time. But we definitely do build the curriculum with the children. And as class teachers, we don't have a set timetable. So you came into our room, there wouldn't be a timetable on the wall or in the doors. And we don't have set planning formats. There's very much this freedom of you do it the way you want to do it. And if you were to look in my laptop bag, for Monday, you'd see a notebook or a scrap of paper. We don't have anything that's set that we have to hand in. But obviously we do plan our lessons. So that whole issue of Ofsted, expecting to see plans lessons rather than lesson plans, we really took that and flown with that. No, you won't see any set collections of lesson plans.
Okay, quick.
Because they're a waste of time. Did you want that one or not?
No, the one before. Quick question, because Mike Claddenbowl was talking about things haven't moved on, and it's the same curriculum from 100 years ago. Anyone tell me what the white countries represent?
The countries that Britain's never invaded.
It's scary, isn't it? The white ones are the countries we have never invaded, and that's across the world. One country we've had a terrible issue with through our invasions is Palestine. It's close to our hearts. This is a school in Al-Shafat, and we learnt loads from going to work out there and working out there, and they come to us and come and work in our school, and it's something that's something we've learned loads from. So it's this whole idea of create a culture where we can all learn, and our children learn loads from having Palestinians in school, because they're not the people they see on the news chucking rocks. They're really lovely people who are absolutely grand. I suppose just to finish, the saddest thing is that we measure on the PISA and all that stuff. And there is apparently there is a happiness rating. We don't hear about getting to the top of that, which is a really real shame, because children should be happy in schools. It'd be great if there was an Ofsted judgment on that. We go back to Bobby Robson, and I think if we just change club for school and city for community, I think that's really what we're after. And Molly Cody trusts. We don't want you to run away with that. So the best thing about working at Woodrow, again I asked the teachers, what's the best thing about working at Woodrow? They said the children, it always comes back to the children, each and every time.
Is that your thing?
This photo was taken just before she went. So, ultimately, it's what more can we do? Thanks ever so much for listening. Whistle Stop Tour of our school. You've been absolutely grand. If you want any questions, you have any questions, don't find us during the day. We'll be about. I'm more than happy to talk to you. Come and visit sometime. You'll be made more than welcome. All right, thanks ever so much. Thank you.